Hey, it's Adrian Harrison here. I've been shooting professionally since 2007. This channel is about me sharing my knowledge with you to help you take better photos, whether that's for yourself, whether you shoot for some clients, or whether it's for your business. This channel will help you. Make sure you stick around to the end of the video because I'm also going to share with you my fully automated backup system so you never lose an image again. Okay, let's get stuck into it. So I'm going to start with an overview of the folder system I use to really organize my photos. What I've done is, because I shoot for clients, I've organized a folder on one of my drives called client photography, and then within that I'm going to have different years, and within each year I'm going to have their client name, and within that I'm going to have a folder for each of the shoots, and then I'm going to have other folders within, so everything is kept together. So let me explain that in a little more detail. First thing you're going to do is you're going to set up your different years here. And as you build your system out, obviously the number of years you have is going to grow and you'll be able to find them. So all of this system is based on knowing which year you shot something for someone. Which for me, that's pretty easy because I do corporate photography and I can easily find an invoice from the client to know when I shot what particular job. So you're going to start with the year, and within each of these year folders you're going to have your clients. So as you add a new client, you're going to create a new client folder here, and so on. So every time you get a new client you'll add them into here. And for each one of these client folders, inside that you're going to keep all their images together for each shoot. This makes it very easy to also know where to find the images, because then you simply need to know the year and you need to know just the client name, and then you'll be able to find any image. So once you go into the client name, then we're going to be organizing each shoot by a date. And there's a couple of ways you can do this. I start by putting the date like this. So we have the year first, then we have the month, and then we have the day of the year. So if you were to add a new shoot, each shoot you do is also going to have a new folder. So every time you do a shoot for this client in this year, you're going to have a new folder. For example, if we were to add a new shoot, we put the year in, we put the month, and then the day. And the second thing you can do with this is you can organize, you can give a name to the shoot. So it might be event, product, launch. And that just means if you've got a lot of shoots for the one client, then you'll be able to find their folder pretty easily, or the actual shoot pretty easily, rather than just going by the date. The reason too that we have the year first, then the month and the date, is because when we sort on our computer, so when we can sort by the name here, and it means all of these folders are going to be in the correct order. So we're going to start with the year, then it's going to go by the month, and then by the day. If you do it the other way around, by putting the day first, then these aren't going to be in order by month at all. The next part of the system, after we've created a date folder for their particular shoot, is we'll then create a raw folder, and this is where all the raw files go from the shoot. After the shoot we'll download them straight into this folder, so we're going to call it the date again. Then I'm going to use a code for the client name, and what I like to do is call it the first three letters of the name and then the last, and then the next three letters. So if it's 2 words, you call it the first 3 letters, and the second word is the next 3 letters. So it makes it pretty easy to know. And again, it just, in case things get lost, that helps to keep things together. And then after that, I'm just going to put raw, because that way I'll know that these are raw files. What I will end up with, I'll end up with multiple folders here, and then all the done images, I'm going to have a done folder. And this is all the different types of folders or files. So if you created different files for the client, so you might have high res files, you might have low res files, You might have different formats, PNG files for example. You can create a folder within the done folder for all of them. So having that done folder keeps them all together, and you know that these are the final images. I also create a to edit folder too, so I know exactly which ones to be edited. Let's step over to Lightroom and I'm going to show you how it works in Lightroom. So we have our disk here, then here's the media folder and here's the client folder I've created, and inside this we're going to have the year, the client name and the shoot date. And you can imagine that in Lightroom all you will have to do is look at the year and then you just go find the client name that you want. So what happens is when you import your folders, or when you import your files I should say, what you're going to do is you're going to come up here edit this part out. And come here. If you've already got the year created, you're going to leave this. If you don't, then you're going to create a new folder, add the year. Then you're going to go into the correct year. If you've already got the client name, then you're just going to click on the client name. Now you're going to create a new folder. You're going to add the date, and you may add a little description of what the shoot was about. After you've done that, again, you're going to add, we'll go into one we've already done. If I can find it. Here we go. You're going to add the date again, the code for the client name, which is the first three letters of the name, and then of the next word, the next first three letters. And then you're going to add raw next to it, and then you're going to say select. The other thing I like to do to keep my images organized is we're going to add custom text here. You're going to change this one, custom name, and we're going to keep the original file name. That just makes it easy. If you need to go back to your original images on your memory card, you'll know which file names are which still. Again, we're going to rename it. We're going to put the date as we did before. I'm going to put a hyphen, and then we're also going to put the client name like that. And you can see an example of what the file name will look like. We're going to leave the file extension as it is too. And this is what the file name will look like. It'll use the original file name and it'll rename it there. So we know which date that was shot, we know which client it was for. If you like, you can keyword your images, and then when you're done you can hit the import button. And that will give you a folder like this one here. And these images aren't really going to show up because I've taken them off the hard drive already, but it'll give you a folder like this. The next step of my process is I'm going to star any of my favorite images, and then I'm going to export them from Lightroom into JPEGs, and I'll call that folder to edit. So it'll be like this one here, and instead of done it'll have to edit. Then I'm going to edit up all my images, and then I'm going to save them in the done folder according to if they're high res JPEGs or low res JPEGs. And that is it. That's how the system works. It makes it very easy to find your photos. I'm sure if you implement something like this, it'll make it easy for you. And I mentioned before, as a bonus, I was going to show you my automated backup system. It's almost fully automated. So the way it works is you take your memory card, you go through the same procedure as before. You'll choose where you're going to be saving the images. You'll do your renaming as we did before, like that. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a second copy to another folder. So this folder that I have here, this is connected to Google Drive. So as soon as I import these folders, all the raw files are automatically uploaded to Google Drive. Now this is only possible in the last few years because my internet is so much faster now. I have about 100 megabit download and about a 40 megabit upload speed. So it means I can easily upload 10-20 gig of files, and it doesn't really take that long, maybe an hour or two to do that. So it just means I've got an extra copy of all my images should something go wrong. The next fail-safe in this system is that the images are saved to a NAS drive, and that's configured in RAID 1, which what that means is there's 2 drives in there, and each drive is a mirror of the other drive. So should one of the drives go, then you've got the other one as a backup for that. And the final thing I do as part of my backup system, I use an external USB drive. About once a week I take a backup of all my photos. I put it on that drive and then I put that into a fireproof safe. That means I've got 4 copies of all the images. I've got 1 on the memory card still. I've got a copy on the NAS drive which has redundancy built in. I've got a copy of the raw images on the cloud server like Google Drive, or you could use Dropbox as well. And I've got a final copy which I keep on an external hard drive in a safe. So I'm pretty well covered, and look, you need to do this if you're shooting professionally. You need to make sure that you keep your images safe. So there you go, that's my backup system. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and also remember to subscribe to the channel. And please do leave me a comment below. I'd love to hear how you've set up your backup system or how you've organized your photos